Okay, let's dive into Roger Goodell, who just got a contract extension from the National Football League, 3 years that will take him up until he's 68 years old. And I think let's use Adam Silver as an example, because I think he's the opposite of Roger. Adam Silver, and I just follow a lot of NBA media people on social media. I know several of them from the Bay Area. When he has talked about in media circles and the articles that are written, the way television talks about, it's very positive. He can never do anything wrong. Yet during his tenure, one of the biggest disasters we've ever seen in sports has happened. Guys don't play. What's happened? Ratings have fallen off a cliff. People do not watch the NBA how they did under David Stern, when the NBA was a behemoth, went toe-to-toe with the NFL for a lot of years of my life. And now under Adam Silver, one of the softest, worst, most overrated commissioners I've ever seen. I mean, we love shitting on Bud Selig's and Gary Bettman's. I'd put Adam Silver right there, but he's loved by the media, and specifically the NBA media, right? Which is a little different than the NFL media, which is no holds bar. That they don't care, friends, family, it doesn't matter. Football is covered just a lot like politics. It's just ferocious. And one thing with Roger Goodell is, while the NFL under his watch, now I'm not giving him all the credit. I've always said that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are the Larry Bird and Magic Johnson of my generation. Football was huge. They took it into another stratosphere. Now, Roger, we'll talk about some of his accomplishments, but obviously made some terrible mistakes, right? It's hard to ever forget the whole Ray Rice situation, the concussions, which he gets blamed for. Really, he is a guy taking all the arrows. The owners are the ones making decisions. They're the ones that have to sign off. You know, when you get something delivered, something to your house, and like, we can't drop it off unless someone signs. Like Roger Goodell, they're signing it. He's just out in front giving a thumbs up. So when you look at Roger Goodell, ESPN turned on him, and it became very, very negative, right? It's why they had such a poor relationship for a lot with Monday Night Football. It was like, you constantly talk shit about our league and our commissioner, and they were giving them bad games forever. It was really ugly, right? I mean, think about ESPN's biggest personality, or one of them during that time, Bill Simmons. I mean, they were going at it. So Roger is not very good with the media. He's the opposite of Adam Silver. Terrible with it. Doesn't have a great personality for it. Kind of gruff. It's just not natural. Hell, on camera, he's not very natural. If he was a political candidate, he would be awful. Because when it comes to debates, when it comes to just shaking hands and kissing babies, he's not very smooth. But when it comes to getting things done, it can't really be debated how talented he is at his job. So when you look at what happened under Roger's watch, I mean, from a negotiating standpoint, they have dominated the players. I mean, absolutely destroyed them in 2 CBA negotiations, because the players have always, and I guess any commissioner could have handled this situation. They've always fought for things that don't have monetary value, right? We get mandatory day off, no double days. And the owners were always like, cool. More revenue for us, right? More money for us. The owners have always been obsessed with the money, where the players get kind of emotional. Like, you got to give us 6 days off during a bye week, mandatory. The owners are like, cool, take it. But only 3 straight days during training camp and practice, no double days. You guys got it. That's another point on our side, revenue-wise. And they always dominated those, kind of conversations. And let's face it, Roger was the head point man with the other NFL lawyers. So the Thursday Night Football, which everyone seems to talk shit about, has been a raging success. I remember before I worked in the NFL, Thursday Night Football was usually a random college football game. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a college football game on Thursday. I'm not saying that they don't happen. They clearly do. They're just never on my television. Just like they're never on most people's television. Why? Because even when the NFL went to streaming Amazon, a year into it, they're getting 13, 14 million people watching these games. And it's everything Roger has done financially for the league has had massive, massive benefits. Obviously, the international play, adding the game. And I'm not saying these are all his ideas, but he's been the leader. He shepherded. And the NFL hasn't separated from the other sports. It's in a different universe than the other sports right now. That there is no competition for the NFL. honestly, there's no competition on TV for the NFL, sports or non-sports. So Rodgers clearly paid, a king's ransom. I'm sure some big J's will write articles how that shouldn't take place. Part of the deal when you run a 10, 15, $20 billion operation, that's why CEOs get paid so much money. That's kind of the going rate, 40, 50, 35, whatever $million. And listen, Rodgers kind of a different cat, clearly not very smooth. But when it comes to just operations and decisions, it's hard to argue that he hasn't been one of the most successful commissioners, definitely someone my age has ever seen.